We're here with the sensational Nikki Sanz, creator, CEO of Gigs, current solid member, all of the good things. And yeah, we're here to give a little spotlight, a little love to you. I obviously am like a super huge fan of yours. I actually like fanned out when I met you for the first time.
Oh my God.
So
And we were talking when we shouldn't have been talking. It was like during a very...
Absolutely. Yes, during a moment of silence. We were like,
Yes,
oh
we were
my
talking in the
God.
moment of silence. Yeah.
Well, now we're here and we got all the time in the world to talk. So yeah, just wanted to, give a quick overview of your career, how you got to this point, and obviously an update on Gigs because it's super cool, and definitely want to spread the word about it.
Thank you. I am honored for this spotlight. And yeah, I mean, Solid's so cool. I heard about it as soon as I moved here 6 years ago. And I went to the networking events and met incredible people. So I was like, okay, I got to be a part of this. So I'm a new member. I'm so happy to be a part of Solid now officially. And yeah, so I moved here 6 years ago, the day after I graduated from Elon University. And I knew I just wanted to get right on the road. That's all I wanted to do. But everyone said, you just got to get to Nashville or LA or New York. And then you just have to meet the right people. There was no guidebook to actually how to get the right experience, to meet the right people, to get on the road. You just had to know the right people. So I moved here and I just started trying to pick up any gig I could, whether that be working at recording studios or at venues. I ended up getting a job with Live Nation as a production runner, so just working local events. I worked corporate events and sports, TV and film, and then finally I guess it was within about six months or so of living here. I started my first road gig finally was with Eric Church in 2019. So then I was on the road with him and that luckily opened a lot of doors, met a lot of more people. So I had more opportunities to work festivals, different tours. 2020 happened, but went back out on the road. And then after I went back out, I realized like, I just didn't want to tour anymore. I think as a lot of people realized, like we just kind of liked being home and a different lifestyle than the road. So got off the road, I started staffing tours. And that's, I knew how hard it was for me to find my first gig and then my next gig and my next gig, but then to staff tours was a whole nother beast. It was like impossible to find enough people because it's all word of mouth. And so that was in 2022 when I realized, okay, we need a LinkedIn, we need a centralized hub, we need a better job board for these kind of word of mouth jobs. So then created Gigs 2022 and launched it about 5 months ago, November of 2023. And since then we have almost 10,000 people on there and hundreds of jobs and, Live Nation, Red Light Management, Claire Global, PTP. These huge names have already hired successfully. And I'm so excited to see where we're going next.
I actually have like a few questions just kind of for your origin story. So
yeah,
there's really two is like, what was the first gig you got? And then coming out of college, like how did you know that this side of the industry is what you want to work on? Because what I think is super cool about your platform in general is that a lot of people don't really know that like you can be a touring engineer, staging and lighting and stuff like that. So was this stuff that you did in high school before, or like, yeah, what kind of piqued your interest into that part of the world?
Yeah, I was actually a sport management major. I really thought I wanted to work in sports, and I had an internship at the Greensboro Coliseum, which was just an arena. They had sports, they had concerts. And so I was working the Dolly Parton show was one of my, I guess, first kind of internship jobs. And to be there the whole day to see the load in, see the buses come in, the trucks unload, then experience the show, experience the green room, like all the dressing rooms, and then the load out. I was mesmerized and I was just like, this is gonna be what I do. And so I switched. I kept that major. It was kind of, then I took up business and as a minor. But so yeah, it was college that opened that world because people don't really know about it. It really is this kind of hidden. How does someone, you go to a show, you have no idea that hundreds of people or put it on and are working on it the entire time. You have no idea how many people are back there. And you also have no idea that you can do that. It's a really great paying job. It's fun. You can really enjoy what you do. It's hard. But I think it's been kind of gate-kept job. Like people just kind of are like, it's only our people. But the industry has grown so much that we need more people, and we need more high school kids to know about that this is a way to go. You don't need to go to college. You can learn production. You can learn whatever. Anyone in college know that this is an amazing career to step into. So that's how I knew about it. But you still don't know enough until you actually get on the road and then you see all that it takes. You might need a couple tours under your belt to really fully see it all. Because again, it's just kind of a hidden world, and it is hidden for a reason. And I respect why the industry has been so word of mouth. And so it's really people that are okay with a rough, long 20-hour day, physical, but it's so worth it because you're putting on shows that, everyone's in it for the love of the music.
Absolutely. No, that's cool. I've never done that much on that side of shows, but for my music business program, I had to do a group project and we had to put on a concert and we had to do everything. Like at the end of that, I was like, dog, I'm so tired. I don't think I'm meant for this.
Oh, exactly. That's the whole, oh my gosh, exactly. So you're wearing a lot of hats and it's constant problem solving. I mean, you get to a venue, you don't have half of the things that you need. This wasn't advanced. I remember even just learning the lingo, my first few weeks out, I was like, oh yeah, it's in the truck. And they're like, the truck? I was like, it's the bus. So there's difference between the truck and the bus. And I mean, little things like that you have to pick up on the job, and people will teach you and all the different lingo, bus etiquette, just all the things. But once you get one tour under your belt, you really get it. So that's why I really want to encourage internships on the road too. So that's down the line.
Okay, that was gonna be one of my questions later on. And then just kind of sticking to this beginning part of your career. So how did you get into staffing tours? Where did that come about?
So I got off the road and I was kind of I really wanted this other job. It was with this other artist and I really wanted it. And I ended up not getting it and I was devastated. But because of that, I had to switch gears and I reached out to a tour manager I've worked for before, Stuart Burke. He's the tour manager for Lauv. And so I was kind of helping him with some production assistant work remotely. And he's so well connected that people come to him all the time to staff tours. So he's like, hey, I need help with this. Can you help staff these tours? So I was doing it in a small way and his kind of boutique staffing firm. And just doing that, it was like, oh my God, I don't know if enough people, we have this huge list, but I still had to go and post on Facebook and on BobNet and on Instagram stories. And I was like, there is gotta be a better way for this because no one's on LinkedIn. No one is, you have people in production, maybe on Indeed, but it's very expensive to post on there. So it just something like this doesn't exist yet. So there are a lot of smaller boutique staffing companies in the industry. But something that was, if you're a small budget tour, how can you afford to pay the salary or, pay a commission on finding someone? I really wanted it just to be a platform for everyone to exist and connect seamlessly like that.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And then how do you think, if you had to rate yourself on the 1 to 10 for staffing that first tour, what would you give yourself?
Oh gosh. I was so nervous about it because I couldn't find enough good people. I just kept if I give myself, I did it. I was a mess because I was like, I can't find enough good people. And I was just texting every single person I could. And we're kind of running a campaign right now that's a picture or a video of someone texting someone being like, hey, I'm in town. If you hear of anything, let me know. That is the text that you either get or you send. You're like, oh, great. That person I know is now available. But how am I going to remember that person's available when that person tells me that they're looking for someone? we've just all depended on other people to determine our career. And that's another thing that I don't like, because I like to be in control of my future. And so relying on other people to get me jobs, I didn't like that.
Fair enough. Going on to why do you feel you'd be impactful in this position and space? I'll let you talk a little bit more about it, but I think it's super dope that, and maybe this is something that you can go into or maybe didn't even think of, but you said y'all have been active for what, 5 months?
Yep, about 5 months now.
So 5 months, 10,000 people. So, I mean, that's easy math. That's 2,000 people a month. I think a lot of that has to do with your impact on the spaces, your personability, and like willingness to just talk to people and maintain relationships. So before we get into like more of the technical stuff of that, like, can you talk to the relationship building that even helped you build up this amazing platform so quickly?
Totally. Yeah. This is a relational business. So I knew that the only way to grow this thing would be literally just one-on-one conversations with everybody. And that's anyone from, you know, on the entrepreneur side, the tech side of me, like learning how to really do this well. But then in this space, like I had focus groups, I sent out polls, I met with any person I possibly could that was in this space to just be like, this is what I'm thinking. And every time I met with somebody, they poked a hole in some way, in some small thing. And then I had to go home and really think through that, add that to the business plan. I, you know, tested the pricing with so many people. And anyways, luckily I'm an extrovert, so I enjoy this. That's my favorite part of the job. But another thing that really helped. So last year, beginning of the year, 2023, Facebook allows you to message 100 people a day. And that's it. So I'm a part of like 65 different groups in Facebook. That is how, honestly, a major way we get jobs in this industry is through Facebook groups. And this is anywhere from audio, lighting, tour manage, VIP, merch. I mean, group for everything. And so I went through and I friended and I messaged every single person, 100 people a day, saying, here's my thought, here's our website, sign up, join our wait list. Because from that, and literally it's like 100 people a day for a whole year, I now have hundreds of mutual friends with like everyone in the industry. It gave me a wait list of over 1,000 people because that was like another way to just get the message out. So that was just now that I have, you know, that all these connections virtually. And I think it's something like, you know, it takes people 5 times to see a brand or a message to actually take action. So it's just trying to keep getting the name, the brand, the logo in front of people's faces, and now success stories to get people to actually convert into becoming a member.
It's quite extensive of just kind of like the relationship building and relationship sustaining. You know, I think a lot of people really lack that part. They might be good at working a room and stuff like that, but then the longevity over the time that you have seemed to perfect is super cool to see, and like how it can actually continue to foster a community that you're obviously a part of and that you care so much about.
Oh, you never know what you're going to learn from every single person too. Like it's been such a gift to be able to have any criticism about it. I'm like, we already have our stuff, or we already, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. But can I convince you because we have this or because of that? And then if I change their mind, then I'm like, great, we're building this. This is where we're going. And so it was necessary. If I had built what I thought this should be in July of 2022, it would be a whole different story. It has changed so many times. And we're even building out a whole separate 2.0 platform for our employers based on all the feedback we've gotten, where I'm like, oh, that's great. We need to do that. Fabulous. So, I mean, if this is like, you know, a platform for our community, I want people to use it. So I will do anything to change it, to make it so that people want to use it.
We love that, being adaptable and nimble even as your business grows. I actually was just listening to a podcast on my way back from Atlanta yesterday, and he said advice he got from his mentor was, if you follow the big trends but get the little stuff wrong, you'll probably end up being okay because you're still in the sphere of what's happening. So, but on the flip side, if you don't follow the trends and do a bunch of little stuff good, then it won't have any use case or value for what's happening. And so,
that is such a good point. any tiny little things I want to change about it that talking with our CTO is like, those can wait because they're little. We have to, these are the main things. And we call it MVP. What is MVP? Most viable product first. You know, Amazon sold books first. They nailed books first. And now Amazon is Amazon. So I was like, I know that we need to nail touring. I think this will easily be for all of entertainment and all of gigging in live production, but we're nailing touring first. Yeah. And even like adapting, like, I mean, when I'm spending days, hours and hours and hours on models and just working through Excel and playing with how we're going to set our pricing and the way, certain ways that the enterprise is going to work, and just like grueling, awful. I hate it. It's terrible. And then I go present it to all these different artist managers or production companies, people that will be paying, and they all say no. And I have to be like, yeah, take it. Like, this is something I'm proud of that I worked on, but I have to take what they are telling me. And so I've changed the model so much. Now I'm really confident where we lie, but that's going to change again. And I know it's going to.
Even said here, my goal is to get the right person in the right job, and while building a community of talented people and companies who support artists and creators. I know what I don't know, so I highly value mentorship and industry wisdom. And I think that's like really, really cool. Just from the aspect of, right, you kind of being self-aware and honest of like, hey, even though I've been in this space for however long I have, you know, there are still things that I don't know. And like you said, you're building a technology company within the music space. And we spoke a little bit earlier or yesterday about how, like, you're not a tech person, you're a music person. And so I thought it was interesting though. So like, in knowing what you don't know, but still being able to have a vision for this, like, how did you know who the right person or people were to help you get this thing started?
That's such a good question. Yeah, I didn't. The first person I talked to when I had this idea, he told me, you got to go to the Entrepreneur Center in Nashville and just start there. And so they told me that no one's ever used as many advisor credits as I did, because I was like, can I have more? Hey, can I have more credits? Because I need anywhere, like from the creating a business plan to what is a model, what is marketing for this, what is tech? I don't know. I'm building a tech company and I don't know tech. I don't know coding. I don't know who does that. How does it work? How do you manage it? So, you know, I don't know anything, honestly. And like, I still don't know as much touring as the veterans that have been doing it for 25 years. So I went in knowing, hey, I don't know anything and I just want to learn as much as possible. And I read a lot of books and dedicated a lot of time to first learning. I'm still learning, but yeah, mentorship is everything. And I think that how I saw it is I tried to have like between 5 and 8 meetings a day for the past like almost 2 years now. It's like kind of, that was where, which is insane and I'm tired, but every single time, like, it might be not the best meeting, but there's a nugget that I can take from that one person, or I'm asking the right question to get that nugget. I just think everyone is a teacher. Everyone is always a teacher. And then if you're treating everyone as a teacher, then they actually might turn into your mentor. Like, I have a lot of incredible advisors and mentors now. And there are moments where I'm like, no, I know that this is the right way to do it. And you just have to constantly not humble yourself, but just slap yourself in the face and be like, no, you don't. Listen to other people, you know, especially in our industry. So like, I want gigs to really model the culture and the standards that have been set already in our industry. It's a beautiful, very unique, very different. People don't really know about it. And I love that about it. I think it's really unique that it's so different. Gigs is hoping to just make it more efficient and make it so that people can work more and hire easier. But you know, I didn't want this to become corporatized. You know, if we're having an event, we're gonna go to a fun, you know, East Side. What's it called? What's a grungy bar called?
Yeah, the dive bar.
Anyways, not gonna become a big corporate networking. We're still staying true to the cultural values of the touring industry. And so that's where I rely heavily on my mentors in this industry specifically.
Yeah, y'all had your event at Lakeside.
Lakeside, yes, dive bar. That was the
word. I was like, that's such a Interesting place to have it, but like you said, you want to keep it true to what it is.
That's where we want to hang out anyways. Yeah.
There you go. And I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like just certain challenges or roadblocks. I think like being a woman in the space, I'm sure you went through your fair share of stuff there, and then even just like transitioning from, okay, this is a word of mouth situation. Why is someone trying to techify it? Just kind of talk a little bit about the mindset you have to have and diving more into, all right, I'm going to get 1,000 no's before I get a yes. You know what I mean? And really having to live that every day and set your intention every day. Like, okay, I'm gonna wake up, have these 5 to 8 meetings, but I'm just gonna take what comes from it and just let that be the result.
Yes. Yes. And it doesn't mean that you don't sometimes get sad when you are rejected, because it's not easy to brush off all the time, but you got to get comfortable with being told no. And like, I've had so many people, especially when it was first starting and there wasn't anyone, there's nothing to prove with it. There was no waiting list. It was kind of like, oh, this seems like a fun hobby. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be that, but you know what? How can I change this pitch to not make it seem like a hobby? Then I kind of shifted up how I pitched it to people. I've had people tell me, that's just kind of ugly. And I was like, man, that sucks to hear. What would you like to see? Like what would be more appealing to you, and all this stuff. And obviously, like, I get a lot of hate online of like, what has she even done? Like, I want to see her resume. And I'm like, if people are hating on this, something's going right. Okay. I'm taking that as a win. Especially when I was I've been fundraising. I've been trying to get investors for months and months. And I've raised about $400,000 right now. And but that came along with like 85 no's. So it's getting comfortable with no and not taking anything personally. Business is so different. Business can be relational, but it doesn't need to be personal. So gigs is not me. Gigs is something that I know will benefit this whole industry if I do it right, and if I take the right advice, and if I have the right people working around me. But every time someone says no, thank God for that. And then how can I improve my pitch or the model or my delivery of it, that kind of thing.
No, I love that. Business can be relational, but not personal. I need to write that down.
Yeah.
And I think you even said it best too, like kind of in your written answer. Setbacks are an opportunity in disguise. While it may be hard to recognize this amidst the challenges or when things don't go as planned, these moments are your chance to shift and transform adversity into something beneficial. Everything unfolds as it's meant to.
God's got a plan.
Oh yeah. Like you said, if you would have released this before any of the adversity or setbacks, it would have been a completely different platform. And knowing you, I'm sure it still would have been successful, but how it's evolved and iterated into what it is now is super awesome.
Oh, I plan to launch this. The plan was March of 2023. Was I ready for it then? No. Was the site ready? No. And I was devastated that we couldn't get it out then. And then it was supposed to go June. Devastated that we missed touring season. So what we ended up doing, as it was supposed to happen, is we got it out in November. That was peak dead season. That's time when everyone needs a job. So it was a good time to start that wording of, hey, you need a job? Just sign up for this. We're gonna have jobs very, very soon for you. And then we got the people, and now we have the businesses. So once I had around 5,000 people, I was going to the businesses saying, hey, we got a lot of people. Now you join. Now we have a better balance so that when we have this next big launch, I'm very proud of our numbers. But yeah, it's trusting, even though things don't go at all ever how you want it to go. It's trusting that that's what should be happening. Yeah.
Absolutely, yay. So I guess the last question we had there was, is there anything you're doing now that you hope will set, I misspelled precedent and wrote president. You could also be the president.
President!
I absolutely believe you'd be the president in your space.
Bye-bye.
You have my vote. But yeah, anything that you help will set a precedent for the future. You said, my goal is for gigs to level the playing field, removing the barrier of needing to know the right people to advance one's career. I hope Gigs becomes the go-to marketplace for all of gigging in the entertainment industry. And so I guess, like, obviously you have that, but even just looking even more short term, like, you know, what are some things that you're hoping to see a year from now, 6 months from now? I know you said you want to nail touring first, but eventually get into all of entertainment.
Yeah. Totally. Oh my gosh. The goal is, the whole mission of this is just to level the playing field and let everyone have an opportunity to get into this field and to have a very steady career and income in this, because it's available. Companies are struggling to hire. People are struggling to find work. Gigs is just connecting. That's the whole mission, is we're just connecting and building community. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to get touring down first in the States, because I want to make sure that this model is working and that we can just lock in this marketplace. We actually have already started with corporate events as well, because a lot of people that tour, whenever they're in town, corporate events need locals, anything from talent wrangling to audio, lighting, video, all of that. So we've already actually stepped into the corporate space. But anyways, focus is on touring, especially through this crazy touring season of 2024. That's probably going to be even bigger than 2023. And then I think we can quickly step into TV and film, sports, theater, trade shows, and just live productions. I mean, if you think about marathons, there's some marathons every single weekend around this country, and we have to have people staffing those. So there's all types of events all the time. And then after we nail really entertainment, I think this happens at the same time or after, is we go global as well.
I guess kind of last question I have, or last two questions I have for people is, I know we kind of alluded to it earlier, internships, like we'll be able to start posting those, and I guess really, like, what does a live touring internship look like? Because I feel like that's one of those jobs you can only really learn by doing it.
100%. I've never even heard of a touring internship, but why shouldn't a college senior who's 21 and get that kind of experience to, first of all, see if that's even what they want to do? See if, like, go on one tour and be like, is this really what I want to do? If not, then you can kind of start dipping your toes into other internships before you graduate. Or if that's exactly what you want, you continue that and then you have a job after school. So this will only benefit both parties, because obviously this would be a paid internship, but what tours need is anyone who's just hungry to come in and learn and be just a sponge to take it all in. And that's what I think, if a college kid has their last year, they're college senior, and they go every weekend and they can tour every weekend, I mean, they're gonna just be loving that. That's the life. And so anyways, I just think that this hasn't really been done before. I've been talking with different universities, and I don't know when this is gonna start rolling out, but pun intended, I do think that this will be a really cool opportunity for students, and maybe even potentially high school students, however that could work, if this is their path for them.
Well,
but we do have internships already on gigs. They're not touring, but they're with artist management right now. But we're gonna work out something for touring.
Yeah. Lastly, how can all of us here at in SOLID and around the industry continue to support you in everything you're doing?
This is so nice. Just getting the message out is huge. I am so excited to go to just even more SOLID events and meet everybody and get to know everybody so well. I'm in the community service committee, and I'm just excited to get to know everybody more. And man, just spread the word. If anyone, we are the people that run into touring people. We are the people that run into production companies and artist management and any venues. Just ask them if they've heard of gigs. Of course, they're going to find amazing people on there. Everyone on there is vetted, and we got thousands of people on there. So encourage them, and I can send ways to get on gigs and referral code and all that good stuff.